Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here. This time reviewing on issue 7 of Superior Spider-Man. Now, as you know, Superior Spider-Man is meant to be a series where Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man, but this is what me and my friend James agreed on, is that Doc Ock in this series is kind of like a Mary Sue. And yeah, the storylines were also adapted from Marvel Spider-Man. So the cover mainly has the Avengers looking at Spider-Man, with Doc Ock Spider-Man just given a kind of normal pose. And the story starts off with Walters and that sort of talking with a guy who's now taking over the heart clinic after what happened with Mr. Negative. Turns out the guy is known as a vigilante called Cardiac, who says, I use its remaining hidden passengers, and to do in secret more terrible acts than the rest of the world will ever know. And of course, heads in, and we kind of see how Cardiac's scientists and that are helping people who can't get the proper help that they need. And of course, find out one of their patients needs a special device that can help her with severe brain damage. And of course, we also see how Peter gets annoyed that Doc Ock now has his body. So he manages to get some control over it and tries to write something in a small black book. But turns out Doc Ock's patrol app goes off, which Peter has to kind of quickly hide the evidence by controlling what little of his body there is. And we see how Doc Ock says, my patrol app. Police band. This time, one of Parker's. My foe is on the loose again, and up to no good. We kind of see how he gets ready as Spider-Man, and we see how he kind of patrols out as the Superior Spider-Man, with Peter saying, God, Otto, you are such a tool. And we see how Cardiac is causing all sorts of damage, just to kind of find a special device for one of the patients. And of course, beats the merciful crap out of a few guards. And we kind of see how Otto tries to investigate and tries to order them around like minions. And you can tell Peter's right, because if he was Spider-Man, Peter would have just gone in and made sure no one else was hurt. Otto is kind of wasting valuable time ordering people around. Sometimes being a hero, you get people out of harm's way and try and keep the situation under control. And we see how Cardiac says, damn it, why do I feel like I'm stumbling across the Ark of the Convent before I find crates 113? I could be here for weeks. And we see how Otto kicks down Cardiac and him sort of confronting him. And this is where Peter tries to get Otto to see reason that he's not really a villain. He's more of a vigilante who wants to do the right things. And we see how Otto says, hands up. I'm giving you to the count of 3 before things get deadly unpleasant. 1. And we see how Peter tries to get Otto to try and stop. And just as he's about to do it, he says, stop right there! What? Who said that? Show yourself! And this is where Peter realizes that Peter is more like Jeremy Cricket, and realizes that Otto can hear him as long as he doesn't know. And we kind of see how Cardiac gives him the shock of a lifetime, and of course manages to dodge some of the attacks and cricks him into some crates. And we see how Cardiac manages to find what he's looking for and says, thanks, Spider-Man. Never would have tracked this down without you. Until next time. Not likely. For there is no way I'm allowing you to leave here. And of course, we see how he brings up the crate and realizes it's one of his past inventions. And him kind of realizing it was one of his past work. The same with most of the others, presumably here. And we see Cardiac saying, I need that. You have no idea what's at stake here. Give it back. And we see how Otto knocks down Cardiac and brings him down to some more crates. And we see how Peter tries to get Otto to see reason, to little to no avail. And just as he's about to hit him, we see Peter gets control to get him to stop going too far. And we see how Otto says, "Ugh, what on earth did I do that? What's wrong with me?" And we see how Cardiac tases down and stuns Spider-Man and uses his sort of glider to sort of get away. And we kind of see him saying, "No, it can't be. Spidey, you okay? Do I look okay to you?" And mainly has a go at the officers, and we kind of see how since he put a tracker on Cardiac, he's going to deal with him. But we see how he gets a message from the Avengers, and it turns out Thor, as well as Black Widow, Captain America, Spider-Woman, and even Wolverine aren't pleased with what's been going on, and points out that he's been putting half the team in the hospital and even killed Massacre, and they know something's wrong. And we see how Peter is happy that the Avengers have now figured it out, and they want to run some tests on Spider-Man. Of course, just as Captain America touches him, he says, "Get your hands off, you flag-wearing fool!" And of course, this is where everyone gets into action to take on the Spider-Man they think is the imposter, and much to Peter's delight. And yeah, this is the story. So I think issue 7 isn't too bad. Again, you can tell Peter knows full well that Doc Ock can go too far, and is just worried that he's going to end up crossing more lines. Because the point of Peter is that even though he's a screw-up, he can always find a solution to his problems. The point of Doc Ock, on the other hand, is that he's too violent, angry, and, well, is too egotistical to be Spider-Man. But I still think this issue still deserves a thumbs in the middle. It's kind of alright, kind of okay, but still a good story. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.